Where'd everybody go? I want everybody to go out in the hall and get a friend and bring him back in here. We did a call like before this to tell me about it, and they're like, "Okay, you're right before the drinks." I'm like, "Oh, good. 7 people will be there." Get in here, ShayCarl's talking about YouTube. I'm so obnoxious. Well, you made it to the end of the day. Remember, organic, authentic content, right? I'm glad I heard him say that because that's what I was going to say. Now I'm like, I can't say authentic. Isn't it funny, though, that that has to be the buzzword? It's like, just don't lie, right? That's what, if you guys want this to work, don't lie. That's just a good life tip, actually. Okay, so my name's, I should introduce myself before I act like, listen to me, I know what I'm talking about. I'm ShayCarl, I'm a YouTuber. I'm a tier 1 talent. I was looking at that. As I looked at that graph, I like pictured all my friends' faces in the tiers. What do you think, we're like just pieces of meat, just numbers to you guys? That can push a lot of product, that's ShayCarl. He can sell some stuff. So I've been a YouTuber for 6 years. I've done a lot of things in my career. I was a car salesman. I sold pest control door to door. And I've always been like a people person, you know, like when you're in school and you have to take the bubble test, and they're like, okay, according to these answers, then the Scantron that you just took, you're going to be a therapist. So I was always like salesman because you're good with people and you're crazy and you seem like you're on crack most of the time. But I never wanted to do any of that, and I never thought that like entertainment was actually like a viable option. It wasn't like I'm going to grow up and, you know, be on Saturday Night Live. But when I found YouTube, it was very interesting to me because of the conversation. I got on YouTube 7 years ago because I bought a $500 Dell laptop because I was 27 with 3 kids, and it was like a pre-midlife crisis. I'm like, I'm almost 30 and I have 3 kids, and at the time I had my own, well, I worked for a granite countertop shop. I fabricated granite countertops, and I just thought I should buy a computer. And this day, I always say this at these kind of things. When I told my wife, when I went to her, as you all spouses would do, you would say, honey, I'm going to spend this money on this thing. And she's like, why do we need a computer? What will we use it for? I'm like, I don't know. I had a Hotmail at the time, so I would we could send each other emails. And so I had no idea about the internet, about computers. I never even took a typing or a computer class in all of my education. I dropped out my junior year in college because I couldn't find a parking spot. So that's how educated I am. But so we got this computer, and I knew about YouTube because at the granite shop that I worked at, all the guys would crowd around this little, you know, Macintosh, this 1980, you know, little cube of a computer, and we'd watch Kimbo Slice fights. This big bearded black guy who could just beat up anybody in a back alley, and all these, you know, roughneck granite guys loved watching this guy beat people up. So that's what we did on break at the granite shop. I was like, this is like a fighting website? What is this? YouTube. And so when I got this computer, that night I somehow miraculously got it set up on the internet, and the only thing I knew on the internet was YouTube. So I went to YouTube and was like, I want to see Kimbo Slice beat up some dudes in an alleyway. And I watched every Kimbo Slice fight there was, and then it was like, well, what else is on this thing? And so I typed in Green Day, because I was a punk rocker in high school, and so I want to see some, you know, Green Day concerts. And there he is, Billy Joe Armstrong, playing to England. And I'm like, whoa, this is like a TV guide where I can just tell it what I want to watch, and it pops up. It's like, you don't tell me what I'm going to watch and when I'm going to watch a TV guide. I type it in and say, I want to watch, you know, Glenn Plake jump off of a 50-foot cliff in Switzerland right now. And it's there. And that was my first night on YouTube. I stayed up all night long. I remember just like finding all these videos, like, well, what else is here? And I found people that had audiences. I found Philip DeFranco, he's also a tier 1. He's up with me in the tier 1 guys. This is interesting seeing this conversation because as a YouTuber, I've thought about this forever. Like, do the advertisers sit around and talk about us like we talk about them? So it's cool to be in this room and to see these conversations because you guys are going to like put my kids through college. Well, actually, Disney already did that, so rich jokes. I woke up at 4 in the morning this morning in southeastern Idaho, and now I'm here talking to you lovely people. Where was I? YouTube. So I stayed up all night watching YouTube. The sun was coming up. My wife was waking up, and I was like, crap, she's gonna think I was looking at porn. So I'm like, gotta hide my computer. I'm like, she's like, have you stayed up all night long? I'm like, yeah, YouTube. I can type in whatever I want and it pops up. And so I became a YouTuber. I wanted to do that. I wanted to like put stuff on the internet and get a reaction and have this discussion with people from around the world. So I had, you know, at the time we just had this little digital camera, not this one particularly. I've went through like 150 of these in the last 6 years. But I had like 2 clips, like video clips on there. I had me. It was blackmail footage. My wife, we were like putting stuff away, and I found her old dance unitard, and I put it on and started dancing around because I thought it was hilarious. And she was going to blackmail me, so she filmed me doing it. But little did she know that I uploaded that on the World Wide Web for everybody to see. So that's like my second video of all time, is me dancing around in my, you know, in my unitard in the living room. Anyway, so I just wanted to be a part of this, and the conversation, it was so exciting to me. And then I started getting subscribers, people that were watching my videos, and they were sending me messages, and they were like, when are you going to make the next video? And I'm like, who is this Joe from Ohio who thinks that I'm funny? He's cool. I like Joe from Ohio. I want to be his best friend. And, you know, another, like, where I went on to, like, start my own granite countertop business and got into YouTube at the same time. And when I got that first comment from Joe in Ohio about making more videos, I was doing pretty well at the granite job, and I had this like $10,000 granite job that I had to do, and my wife's like, are you gonna go do that job? I'm like, no, Joe from Ohio wants me to make a video. And we, you know, we're married with 3 kids, and we're just barely struggling to, you know, pay the bills. And this YouTube thing was something that I'm like, this is fun, I wanna do this. And then I found out you could make money doing it, and I was like, that would be a dream come true of a dream I never knew I even had. That's my catch line. Put that on my, tweet that. Somebody with the hashtag, tweet that, I'll retweet it. And so I found out you could make money, and I started making videos, and they linked my AdSense to my Wells Fargo checking account. Don't steal my money. And I was like, you know how you have to do the thing when you link your accounts, and they're like, we're going to deposit 2 cents into your account. And you have to go back and be like, yeah, that was 2 cents. You did it right. When that happened, I was like, this is a scam. Because the first check I got from YouTube was for $300. And I was like, this is fake. This is the internet. I went down to the Wells Fargo. I withdrew that money, and I was like, there's somebody who's going to come out and get me. I like went and spent that $300 as fast as I could. I'm like, it's real money. They didn't like arrest me. And so then it became the content that was like, if I could make $300 a month, that pays for groceries. You know, we're poor newlyweds in Idaho, and we need, you know, a little help here. If I can make $1,000, that pays our mortgage for the month. And that became the goal 5-6 years ago. I was like, I want to try to grow this little thing. I saw a little bit of, you know, positive, you know, return from it, and it was like, I'm just going to make this work. And so the long story short, I moved to Los Angeles. I met some friends who also made YouTube videos. We lucked out by being ahead of the curve. And I still, when I come to things like this is exciting. I still feel like in this industry we are ahead of the curve. So one thing was said up here about the price of getting, you know, a top 1 talent to, you know, integrate your product. There's a bargain right now. So if you're going to wait much longer, that's going to change. Like, advertisers, marketers are going to realize they're going to stop putting a premium on the size of the screen, and they're going to realize that eyeballs are all the same size. And when marketers and advertisers realize that, they're going to realize that this is worth way more of our advertising dollars than a $300,000 Taco Bell spot that takes, you know, it's 15 seconds. Because it's not interactive, there's not an influencer. I love that term. I want to be known as an influencer. An influencer, I like that. Who came up with that? That's a good, anybody here? Anybody come in here? That guy, influencer. And so to me, it's like, it's just a matter of time. Like it used to be, I would fight for words. I would fight to like make YouTubers, what we did, mean something. Like, what's the word? Help me out. Legitimacy. Yes, thank you, sir. 5 points to you. Legitimacy. And I used to fight for that. Like, we're real entertainers. We're making a difference here. And now it's like, it's happening. And that transition is already happening. And it's been good. There's a lot of good advertisers that we work with at Maker Studios, and there's definitely a way to do it right. And I don't want to take too much time, but it's something that is growing now, you know, beyond what I ever thought it would. So get in now, get your influencers, get your checkbooks out. Let's pass the basket around. I think I should just take some questions. Does anybody in here have any questions about you know, like to talk to an actual person who might, you know, interact with your product. Like there were some questions asked earlier, I'm like, oh, I want to answer that one. I want to answer that one. But I was telling this to a friend the other day because I've been doing it. So my claim to fame is I've made daily videos every day for 5 years. When I turned 30 years old, I thought, I'm having more midlife crises, right? Like, I'm 30 now. Is that Rafi fine? Oh my.
Hi, Shay.
Hi. He's a YouTube buddy of mine. That's what was I talking about? The internet? When are we gonna do YouTubers React? This is so professional. Where was I? Oh, you asked the question. Right, everybody. Red link. What I was gonna say, I remember now, is after making a video every day for 5 years, it's like, it can kind of grind on you. And when I go watch YouTubers, it motivates me to make my video. Like when I'm sitting there tonight, I'm like, this is video 1978. I've done this so many times. Like, how do I find the motivation to do it again and make it fresh and exciting and not be too outlandish, like hot naked chicks, click here, you know, like how you make it authentic. Big fan of hot naked chicks in the back. I watch YouTube videos. I watch my friends. I watch the Fine Brothers. I watch Red Link. I watch Wheezy Waiter, Cassim G. You know, all the friends that I've made, the nerd, you know, the Vlog Brothers. There's some really cool, you know, content creators out there that are getting better at what they're doing and what they've done. So YouTube is an amazing place to just, my favorite part about what I do is like the 2 hours from 10 p.m. to 12:30 when I'm just like, you know, stalking people on YouTube. Mostly my friends, but just clicking through and watching, and it's a good place to find community and entertainment. Other questions?
Yeah, so you talked about early on CPV, getting value for YouTube as you're making content, and then all of a sudden this next layer, brands. Right? Brands coming into play and saying, we want to get into some of this action. What was the first brand that hit you, or just this phenomenon? I gotta believe when you went into this, I mean, most of these guys are like, we're here to create, we're here to do what we love. We never went in there thinking we're gonna be a place for brands to advertise in, the way television is built, right? It never was built like that, but all of a sudden now it's going there. I mean, what was that transition? What was that like?
It's funny because there have been certain companies that have been there from the very beginning. Like I did a Pepsi brand deal 5 years ago, you know, 6 years ago to promote a Super Bowl thing. It, at first, like I remember the very first brand deal I got, it was, I don't know if I should say numbers, but I got $10,000 to put one video on my ShayCarl channel, who at the time had maybe only 60,000 subscribers, so probably a lot different than now. And I remember calling Michael Buckley, who's also a YouTuber, and I was like, is this real? Like, this is exciting. Like, am I in the club now? Like, is this gonna happen more often? And I remember him telling me, he's like, yeah, this is just the beginning. Like he was an early influencer. He's been on the site. If you don't know who Michael Buckley is, check him out. It was so exciting at the time to like, we're making a Super Bowl ad for Pepsi kind of, because it coincided with the Super Bowl and there was a hashtag, even 5 years ago. Sorry if there's any Coke people in here. I love Coke. I love all colas. As seen here. So it's been different as you know, I've done brand deals with little like sharpeners, like knife sharpeners and like cough syrup, but I've tried to stay true to like only promoting things that I think are really good, like things that I really love, that it's not hard to sell, if you want to use that term, because it's like I use this and have a great experience with it and I love it and my wife always buys it. And you should too. It's the perfect example of like, oh, dude, have you seen the new Transformers movie? Oh, they fight for 3 hours. It's like you're sharing something you like with a friend, and that's what these influencers are, and that's how a lot of the viewers see YouTubers, and especially with somebody like me who's been filming and documenting their life every day for 5 years. They trust me. To some of these people, I'm their dad. I get comments, and that's kind of sounds funny, but. And this is a different conversation, but kids they'll tweet me and be like, you're like my online dad. I watch you all the time because their parents aren't there. That's one thing I've heard about the internet. There's a lot of bad parents out there, so be good moms and dads. But if your dad tells you like, this is a great thing that I like, you're gonna use it. And it's also brand recognition. Not only are you gonna like get people to click on your bit.ly link to go check out the new product, but this is brand recognition. If they grew up, I have people that watch my videos from when they were in 6th grade to to like they're in high school now, or people that were in junior high that are now going to Berkeley. And I'm like, you're gonna have a lot of money one day. And you watch my videos for the last 5 years. It's like they're growing up trusting these people, and if they share a product or your brand, it's a big thing, and there should be a premium on that. And I'm here to sell that too. It's like not only do you need to see the engagement, but there's a very strong brand connection with their favorite YouTuber and whatever your brand is. So there's a lot of value in that too. Not only like how many click-throughs did we get, like this is future brand recognition and stuff like that I think you're dealing with. Good question.
How does Maker go about finding talent?
Most of them are my kids. We work with anybody, like
Do you find them, or do they find you?
It's both. It's changed so much now. Back in the day, it was like we called up Shane Dawson and said, "Dude, do you want to start this company with us?" I mean, but obviously now it's way different. There's agents and managers, and there's diverse ways that it happens. But we look to make things with all types of people, and that's the great thing about Maker is it's not just one genre. We do everything. So it's a whole media company where they can provide merchandise and sales and production and tips and tricks. And so it's, I don't know, it's like, whoever wants to work with us. You want to sign with us?
Yeah.
Amy, do we have a contract?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know that actually. I just started the company, so that's how I got involved. But it was, at the first it was, and that actually is a good question about brands in the time of where we've been doing this. The very first reason I came out to Los Angeles, California to start Maker Studios was to promote a movie. You remember that movie Crank 2 with Jason Statham, and he had to keep his heartbeat above a certain RPM or he would die? That's how Maker Studios, like we promoted that before we were Maker Studios and a company. That was the thing that we all came together to work on. And then as we were working on it, and I'm in California, and Danny Diamond is shooting this YouTube video for my channel, and they had a boom pole, and I was like, whoa, they're professional. They have a boom pole. So it was all about that collaboration, like this is fun, you have good ideas, and Lisa's a good editor, and we're like just hanging out on your back porch thinking of ideas, like, oh, what if we did this? It's that typical where you're hanging out with your friends, and you're like, this is hilarious, this should be a show. We were doing that, we were there and making it, and that's what brought us together. Is I can't remember the company that was trying to get us to promote that, but it was 5.5 years ago, and they flew me out to LA, and I got $2,000 to help make this movie. And at the time, where like Danny was telling me, like, let's start this company. I want to like do this more often. And I was like, that sounds like a great idea. Let me convince my wife to move to Los Angeles with our 3 kids and start this YouTube business that we had just started doing. So I always, when I was growing up, I was always looking for what I was going to do, and I always thought, like, when is my break going to come? So I always feel very lucky that I was there when I was. So if I had to, like, try to recreate the amount of success I had today, I don't think I could do it. It's hard. It's a big pool, and I still feel that we're ahead of the curve, but there's a lot of eyeballs, and there's a lot of big checkbooks that are interested in this space now. So it's rapidly increasing, and I was very glad that we kind of took that chance at the time to start YouTube videos. Yeah.
Personality-wise or talent-wise that has led to success of these top-tier YouTube people like you. What do you have in common?
Organic, genuine.
Authenticity.
Well, it's a number of things. Like a lot of it is like my experience. A lot of them have just been there for a long time. It's hard to to be the next PewDiePie. It's like you have to have something to offer that nobody's seen. And there's a lot of people out there making a lot of stuff. So to stand out, it's really difficult. You could have the funniest, most well-produced music rap video, and nobody sees it because they just don't have the attention. So there's a lot of tricks, though. Like that was very interesting to hear about the 4 videos on the side. And if you link well, I was telling this to my dad the other day after my video went live. I spend about an hour after my video goes live linking and tweeting and Facebooking. I call it the 6 ings of YouTube. uploading, filming, editing, Facebooking, like all these things that you do by linking your videos. I have an end slate where you can click on 6 different videos after you watch my vlog. So like you watch my vlog today, you can go click on yesterday's video. There's a mystery video because I'm going to surprise you. You have to check that out, huh? Isn't that tempting? You want to click on it? And then you can click on 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to see what I was doing 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 years ago. So I can be like, what was I doing exactly 4 years ago today? And go click on YouTube and find it. So I link all that because I have these library views now. I have 2,000. I was thinking about this. You guys might be interested in this. I was thinking about those 2,000 library videos that I have. There's so much potential in monetizing those because there's been products in those videos that were just products that me and my family used anyways. So there's opportunity for you to find old content if you don't have a production budget and be like, hey, influencer, maybe you'll retweet this old video that you made 4 years ago that had our brand in it. Like there's so many ways that we can help each other and help, increase revenue and attention to different people's products.
What are the 6 things you do?
I don't know. I just make it up. Let's see. Filming. You got to do that. Editing, importing, exporting. Are you putting a tweet together right now? Yeah. Uploading, exporting, processing, tweeting, Facebooking, commenting. Basically, any verb with ing at the end of it. It could be a lot.
To it, realizing that, hey, this is, where it used to be really black and white. Here's the show, here's the ad, here's the show, here's the ad. Once it becomes a little bit more obvious that it's an ad, are you afraid of anyone getting turned off?
No, because sometimes, advertising is the best content, right? Like you watch the Super Bowl for the commercials. I feel like that is, like there's so many good ads. When I see a pre-roll that's just funny, I'm like, oh, I'm so glad that's playing on my video. Or like when the new Twilight comes out and that plays as a pre-roll, it's like, yes. They are not going to skip this ad. They want to see this. So I feel like the branded content can become the content. It can be the entertainment. Even if it's branded, they're still fun to watch. And it's interesting to see how each creator bring their twist on how they're going to promote this product. And we joke about genuineness, but I have found that is so valuable and that's just been through time and trial and error. Is like, don't try to hide that you're doing an ad. Like this, Toby Turner does that really well. It's like, breaking that fourth wall or whatever. Like, this is a commercial. That's the great thing about what I do is I vlog, and I'm like, hey guys, we're on the set of this new brand deal. Here's my kid, they're filming. And then they're asking me like a week later when I'm still going through a round of notes with whoever, Procter & Gamble, and they're like, where's that brand deal video? Like, they're asking for it because they saw it in my vlogs previously, and they're excited to see the final product. So you just got to be careful. That definitely can happen. Obviously, like, we are all inundated with advertising. It's everywhere. But if you make the stuff that people want to watch, then I don't think that'll ever become a problem, hopefully. Yeah. Just let the YouTubers do what they want, man. Just trust them. Unless it's, never mind. I was going to think of somebody. Any other questions? Yeah. I hate when people ask that at things like this because I want to talk about it, but I know the rep's like sitting right over there. So it's like, oh, never work with so-and-so. Yeah, there's definitely been, I won't say any names, but like there's brands that I'm like, I don't want to do things with them anymore because I don't really like the product, and they force it, and it's like, they make it, it's just not organic, it's like they're very heavy-handed in it, and they make me do things and I tell them, I'm like, I would not normally say this, like this, in this way, wearing this shirt, because I would wear a bigger shirt because I'm chubby. But, they make you do things a certain way, and it's like, the audience is going to see through that, and people are not going to click on the link to go to your website to get 50% off of their first order. Because it's like, the audience almost just like, oh, he has to do this because he's a YouTuber. But if there's really good ads, it's like, oh, this is good. I want to be part of that. They feel like they're a part of a process. And I've found those over the last 6 years. It's like we get deals that come to Maker, and it's a fun process where it's like, this is what we want. This is what we want you to do. And we just lay it all out, and then here's the pay, and then here's when the uploads are going to go. And it works. And, there's definitely times where it's like the video's not ready, or all of a sudden they want this one line out because they think the client will not like, and it's like, oh, that's the funniest line, no. And it's kind of like a give and take where you're like, all right, I guess we'll have to do that. But sometimes you fight back too, like, no, like, this is better. And I try to educate them, like, this is why it'll do better if it's like this. And sometimes they disagree, and then there's lawsuits. No, just kidding. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely been some bad. Oh yeah, there's notes where they want to see, you know, yeah, you guys know that, right? Like they want to see what you made, and they'll give you notes, and then you have to come back. And not all the time. There's some that like I've worked with long enough where they're just like, we trust you. Make sure that the link's in the description, and you know, do your tweets and your Facebook, do your chores, your promotional chores, and they're fine. Like I'll get an email like, hey, you haven't Instagrammed yet. I'm like, oh, I know, I'm sorry. My kid just broke their arm. That didn't happen. Oh, knock on wood. Is there wood up here? But yeah, and it varies from brand to brand how like hands-on they are. Next question.
I think we're rocking.
Is that a wrap? Is that a wrap? Well, I guess in conclusion, go sit down. I had a thing planned. Should I do an in conclusion? Use YouTube. Angie, was that who was up here before? She was awesome. I was like, yes. It will happen. I see this tip between, you know, old media and new media, and it's happening, and I think it's good if you're in this room. I think, like I said, you're ahead of the curve. So there's a lot of exciting future ahead for all of us. So good to meet you.
Thank you, Shay. Awesome.